So now we're going to talk about how do you evaluate experimental research. The key characteristics and the procedures form a basis for evaluating an experimental study. The following list, adapted from Basel 1994, presents criteria useful in this evaluation. For a good experiment, here are some criteria. The first one is the experiment has a powerful interventions. Kumbaga, ang experiment ay magkaroon ng powerful interventions since an intervention is introduced immediately after the baseline period with the aim of affecting an outcome. The intervention itself is the aspect that is being manipulated in your research. So, kailangan talaga na maging powerful yung interventions mo in order to make a good experiment. Secondly, the treatment groups are few in numbers. So, kailangan ang treatment groups, which are the set of participants in a research study that are exposed to some manipulation or intentional change in the independent variable of interests, are few in numbers so that the experiment will be executed well. They are the integral part of experimental research design that helps to measure effects as well as establish causalities. Next one, the participants will gain from the interventions. Siyempre, ang participants like the treatment groups ay may magigain silang knowledge from the interventions. Next one, the researcher derives the number of participants per group in some systematic way. So, kailangan sa pagkolekta ng researchers ng kanyang mga participants ay kailangan gawin niya ito in a systematic way. Kumbaga, kung ano ang plano ng mga researchers sa pag-collect ng participants ay yun ang susundin nila. Number 5, an adequate number of participants were used in the study. Kailangan din ng sapat ng participants na gagamitin sa study. Hindi siya kukulang or susobra. Sakto lang talaga para maganda ang kinalabasan ng research. Number 6, the researcher uses measures and observations that are valid, reliable, and sensitive. Kumbaga, ang gagawin ng mga measurements and observations ng researchers ay dapat reliable, valid, and sensitive, or something like tested and proven na ng ibang researchers and pwede rin gawin ng mga future researchers. Next one, the researcher controls for extraneous factors that might influence the outcome. So, kailangan kontrolado din ng mga researchers ang other factors na pwedeng maka-influence sa outcome ng research or experiment. So, the last one is the researcher addresses threats to internal and external validity. So, ipinapahayag din ng mga researchers ang mga threats na possible na ma-encounter sa internal and external validity. History, maturation, selection, morality, and interaction of selection, and the experimental variables are all threats to the internal validity, while the external validity, like selection bias, history, experimenter effect, Hawthorne effect, testing effect, aptitude, treatment, and the situation effect are the threats.